to navigate through those tough seasons with intimacy and with the closeness that God intended for us to have.
And understanding, again, that it is a season.
Yes.
It's not forever.
That's right.
And that's what we're trying to stress. It's not forever.
Mm-hmm.
This is a season you're in. You're saying you don't know what kind of deal I'm doing.
Thanks for joining the Home Matters Podcast with Eric and Gena Boggs, where they lead authentic, raw discussions about marriage, family life, kids, intimacy, and sex from a biblical perspective. Now here's your host, Eric and Gena Boggs.
Well, hello. Welcome to Home Matters Podcast number 68. Is that right?
68. That's right.
It's number 68. So again, we are glad you joined us today.
68. That's a lot.
Yep, it is.
A lot of podcasts. Yeah, I'm glad you joined us out there, and I'm glad you joined me.
Yep.
Thanks for being here.
We love talking to people that we have just the hope that maybe we can help, or maybe make your life better some way. We can serve some way.
Man, we say it all the time. We're not perfect, okay? I mean, he's pretty close, but not perfect. But here's what this podcast comes out of, what God's done in our life.
Yep.
Yeah, man, I mean, we're miracles sitting in front of you or through the airwaves, whichever way you're watching or picking up the podcast today. But, man, what God has done in our life, we have just seen the miraculous. We have seen his blessing. We have seen him lead and direct us when we were not really even aware that he was doing things, you know. And what we want you to know is it can happen for you.
Yep.
That's right. There's a miracle.
Ours today is for married people. We'll say that right off the start.
That's right.
Podcast, we're going to talk about seasons, the different seasons of intimacy, sexuality, and can I say sensuality, and that different seasons
you want to, I guess.
There may be
leap you
places
out
in your life. And again, we include all of those together. Romance, we use those words kind of interchangeably. Mm-hmm. Understanding that there's a big difference in your intimate relationship and your sex relationship, in the sense that sexual relationship is part of your intimate relationship. Mm-hmm. Neither ever to be discounted. I've been around people and heard people act like, you don't need to talk about sex if you talk about intimacy, and you differentiate between the two. But the reality is if you dismiss or discount either of those, then I think you're settling for less than what God intended for the marriage relationship.
Are you saying that God is interested in your sex life?
Better believe it.
Is that what you're saying?
I would say that the way I would say that is God has given this as a gift to us as human beings.
That's right.
That expresses intimacy that is not experienced in any other
that you're not
part
to
of
express
creation.
Anywhere else, right?
Yeah, and again, I mean in any other part of creation, not the intimate relationship, but as far as sex, sex is something that we see in the animal kingdom, right? When it comes to intercourse and reproduction.
Has to be.
But the intimate part of our relationship is unique to humankind.
That's right.
And when you say one relationship, husband and wife, no other.
Right.
It's not intended for any other relationship. This part of your life that's treasured and valued and cherished. Mm-hmm. That God places, what we say all the time, such a high premium on. He said you share it with one person.
That's right.
Well, that's valuable, isn't it?
That's the value that God puts on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let me ask you this. I'm going to ask questions today. Can I just ask
You're going to help talk, too.
I'm going to ask questions. I forgot what I was about to ask you.
Wow. Where did that go?
Oh, no. It just went right through.
It's a sound effect for you.
It just went right through. What was I about? I know what I was about to ask. Okay, so for a married couple, when does the intimacy and sex stop? That's my question.
Never.
Never? Like till death do you part?
Yeah, not on this planet. Again, I don't.
Okay.
I'll be honest. I don't know all
You
the
don't have-
implications of eternity when it comes to our intimate sexual nature. But I will say this: in this life, sure, there's times where you're, and again, we're talking about different seasons, right? So
That's what we're going to talk
when
about.
it comes to your intimate relationship, that never.
I'm just wondering if there's a season when it's like done.
No, hope not.
I'm trying to loosen you up a little bit. You got this serious look on your face,
Well,
which
you
is
tell
so
me
not
anytime
you.
when we do podcasts, I get serious about this thing.
Sometimes you do.
Yeah, I feel like if I'm in person, I'm probably looser when it comes to talking about this subject because, again, your intimate relationship, your sexual relationship, I am known to go a little too far and say things that maybe are a little too raw. I know in our intro it says that we have raw, authentic discussions.
So you try not to be too raw.
I'm a little guarded. I will say it that way.
Well,
but when it comes down to it, sex is a gift from God.
Yes, it is.
And your intimate relationship, again, it should never die. You
right.
know, and again, statistics say the couples that are most intimately satisfied are senior adult couples that have been together
Monogamous.
a long time. Yeah, monogamous couples. But again, when it comes to sex, they're with that. I'm sure that as we age, that begins to change. You're smiling at me.
What's wrong with me smiling at you? I like to smile at you. You're handsome.
But again, here's the thing.
Okay.
When it comes to intimacy, sex, again, I'm just going to include them together, okay? Right
Okay.
now. If you get offended at that.
For this podcast, we're including them together.
Write us an email.
But
the thing is all of that is variable. And what I'm saying is even your intimate life can become, at times, it can become dull.
Right.
You can become numb to your intimate
well, even in the sexual
especially when it comes to
relationship,
feelings.
that it can just become something you do.
Yeah.
Really. What we're saying really what we want to bring light to today really is that everything does change.
Yeah.
Okay. There are different seasons. Eric said it from the beginning, and we'll look at some of those seasons a little bit.
And
but
some of those seasons will surprise you.
That's right. Hopefully you're going to be surprised in all the seasons in a good way, right? I believe you can. But what we're saying is the ability to transition through each of the seasons that every relationship goes through. The ability to transition in each of those seasons is vital to maintaining intimacy and the sexual relationship all the way through the relationship. Yeah. Because there are seasons, but here's what's important. And I was kidding you, asking you that question a little bit ago, but sex in a marriage relationship is not supposed to be just seasonal. Now, that doesn't mean, and we'll hit on that they're not seasons.
Different seasons that affect that, right?
Right. But, there's not like an expiration date. That's what I'm trying to say. Right.
And again, what we'd encourage couples out there to realize is your intimate relationship, you should be fueling that.
All the time.
Through your relationship. Fuel the intimate part of your
day.
relationship. And the sex is the climax of that. It's the height of your intimate relationship.
Right.
So again, adjustments have to be made, right? As you grow through life.
And absolutely. They just kind of become normal. I mean, you have to understand there are going to be adjustments that we're going to have to make.
Everything there's a time. Everything there's a season. Ecclesiastes, right? Everything. There's a time for everything under the sun. So again, even with our intimate sexual relationship, again, from God's perspective, again, what does God's word say about it? And again, how does that lead us into our life, our relationship? What are principles that we find there? And again, you can say that your intimate relationship, you can say that as you look back, again, there are different seasons. When you first get married, you remember back then, 37 years ago?
I do. It's been a minute, but I can remember that, the early years.
I think we have the perception, the early years, man, that's when it's firebrand hot. I
think that's the perception a lot of times because you hear that saying, the honeymoon's over, like everything was fireworks. And then all of a sudden we're like,
and that is,
real life.
I hate to tell you young folks out there, but that is not the case. If you think
There's
you're
some
having your
engaged
best
couples out there
intimate,
going, "Oh no,
no,
what did
I'm
he
just saying,
just
if you
say?"
think your best days of your intimate sexual relationship are the first days, you are sadly mistaken.
But be encouraged because
You're just
better
getting
days are
started.
coming.
Yeah.
That's right. No, I mean, it can be, young people in love. I mean, it can be a beautiful time, but I know a lot of couples, very young married couples, that they struggle. There are things they're trying to figure out. They're trying, to get everything to work like it's supposed to. Now you're laughing at me.
I'm laughing at you because
I'm just saying
they're trying to figure it out.
That's
just like
exactly
you said.
There, so many really young couples.
For men, sex and stimulation is very instinctive. For women, it's learned.
Yeah.
So again, we're saying that young couples out there, they're learning that. They're learning that together. Their sexual instinct or, their responses, a lot of that is learned.
Right.
Again, I'm being careful, right?
You're doing a good job. You're doing great.
But all I'm saying is early years sometimes, those are, you're just
there can be
started.
Challenges there is what we want you to see, and learning to transition through that stage. And we've had couples reach out to us for help. Get the help you need.
That's right.
Because your intimate sexual part of your relationship is so important, so valuable to your relationship. So if you're having issues there, man, you're not the only one.
And sometimes young couples struggle there.
And they never transition
and they never get to the place of health.
That's right.
Of wholeness in their intimate sexual life. I guarantee you one thing: you fuel your intimate relationship through the touches and the expressions,
the time,
the love languages, all of that, the affection, all that's shown. If you'll continue to nurture that, then you'll figure it out.
That's right.
Can I say it that way?
That's a good
You'll
way
figure
to say
it
it.
out.
You'll figure it out.
Again, if you give it a chance, just don't quit.
Exactly.
Just don't quit on them.
Don't give
this
up
part of your
on
life
that
is
part.
so important.
Yeah, don't give up on that part of your relationship.
So important to God that He said you could only share it with one person.
That's right. What about this season, the kid stage?
Yeah, how about those?
Oh, baby, kids being born.
When it comes to sexuality, your sex life, what do you do? What did you do, Gena?
You just have to put it on a nail for about 20 years, and then you try to. I'm just teasing.
You do what?
You just hang it up and forget it for about 20 years. No.
You didn't.
No, I didn't. I'm glad I didn't. But I'm saying that a lot of people get in that season.
Yeah.
And there's seemingly never a time. There's never a place. Your kids are all over the house. There's never the energy for it. I mean, if you ever get them all in the bed, you're just like, who cares at this point?
Yep.
Prioritizing becomes a major challenge, even if your kids are grown up a little bit. I mean, they got all these activities, they got all this stuff going on. And so in that time, I think that's a time really where couples just kind of grow apart in intimacy and in sexuality, because they're just trying to make it.
Men usually the greatest sex drive is what, 18 to 29. Women
hit it
highest
later.
Sex drive is like 27 to 38.
On the 30s,
I don't remember the numbers, but
actually, it's kind of funny to me that the women's highest sex drive kind of hits right there in that kid bearing raising age.
Men as well,
but
they've got small kids a lot of times.
You still fight against the whole energy, the time, the place.
But again, God designed us that way to know that we would still reproduce because our sex drive is high, even if we were not able to have a lot of time to develop our intimate relationship.
Right. You just transition through it. I mean, when you can get away and lock the door, you do it.
That's what I was asking earlier.
Yeah. If you can get somebody to keep the kids for a little bit.
What about seasons where you're going through difficulty? Man. What about seasons? What do you do about your intimate relationship, your sexual relationship? Mm-hmm. What do you do when you're going through places that you're struggling financially?
You know what? I just call them the tough seasons. Yeah. These can come in any season. I mean, you can hit one of these seasons 6 months into a marriage. You can hit this, right in the middle of kids. But we're talking about, financial burdens. Those things affect us in so many different ways.
But
And
knowing, though, here's the thing that would encourage you that are listening. Here's the thing. Knowing that everybody goes through those.
so true. Yeah.
And that you can continue to nurture this part of your life.
That's so true.
That's the thing that we're trying to point you toward this podcast is that, we may go through, we may be having a tough time financially. We may be dealing with tragedy, but God has given us one another.
Yeah.
And we're going to continue to nurture our love relationship. It may not be that you have a sex drive at all. We've been through seasons in life where we deal with stuff and, sex is the last thing on your mind.
Yeah, man, they're terrible times, like Eric said, of tragedy and grief and loss and, maybe even health things that you're going through, chronic illness and things that you have to deal with in those times. And still to navigate through those tough seasons with intimacy and with the closeness that God intended for us to have.
And understanding, again, that it is a season.
Yes.
It's not forever.
That's right.
And that's what we're trying to stress. It's not forever.
Mm-hmm.
This is a season you're in. You're saying, you don't know what kind of deal I'm dealing with. This is forever. I understand there's some things that last a lifetime, But all I'm saying is even with that, there's a place in the marriage relationship that intimate part of your life is the place of refuge. It's a safe place. It's the place that gives you strength to go on.
That's right.
And even with that, not being afraid of the sexual part of it.
That's right.
And it's okay. It's all right for that to be part of your life, even again. And then, kind of where we're moving toward very quickly, if we're not there yet.
That's right.
Is the season we call the golden years.
They're golden for a reason, baby.
Yep.
Right?
That's right.
Golden, I mean.
They are amazing.
I mean, to think that I would be considered in the golden years, I don't even know if I can talk about this.
But I'm just saying that you are golden. But again, it's that place in life where you're past what we'd consider maybe midlife.
Or maybe right in the middle of it.
Or right in the middle of it.
Women like menopause, hormonal changes, like, just.
We know about some of that.
Do you?
Yeah, we do. We dealt with some of that. But again.
Not too bad. I wasn't too mean.
But no, you were not mean, but there were places where you dealt with those.
I just need to say this right here because with this age, I feel like we can use some of those things as excuses. Honestly, in any of these.
Sure.
We can use them.
And again, that's the point, right?
Yeah, we can use those things as excuses. And, there's so many things there in that age to deal with. And even, I think this is a big one in this age, even the thought that, that's over for us. I think that's a challenge in this season, really, to think that, I don't really need that anymore in my life.
Yeah.
What you think about that?
Again, I think that for the marriage relationship, I think that is, I think in some ways that's diminishing the gift that God gave you.
Yeah.
And again, if it's something it's unhealthy or painful or.
Oh, definitely.
It's something that.
We're not saying you.
But we're saying that with that, don't just keep that part of your life. If you're intimately involved as a husband and wife, then unless there are other surrounding health issues or whatever, again, the sexual part of your relationship, it will be part of that. Yeah. Now, again, there are health issues that people deal with. And again, with that, get help. If there's hormonal changes, men deal with those. Now they've got help to help men with testosterone. You can get testosterone boosters or whatever. The blue pill. Hate to say it that way, or the yellow one, or
yellow. It comes in yellow. Yellow.
No, that's a different kind.
Oh, sorry.
And
not up on my man pills.
But anyway, with that and the hormonal changes that are taking place with women, there's seasons where women go through changes in their body.
Death.
Yeah.
Gaining weight.
Vaginal issues. Those things that affect their sexual performance.
So true.
All
So
of
many
those,
things.
again, it's a season, right? It's a season. And you work through those. You get help where it's
Right.
needed.
And you're willing to talk about those. I think
That's right.
communicating through each of the seasons is so vital. Just because, you know what, this is the one person that God has given me on the earth to share this part of my life with.
Yeah.
So I have to be able to communicate about that, talk about that.
You know, we've had couples say, you know, I just don't have any desire for it.
Yeah.
And again, both couples, if that's the case, then fine. But I will say this, if that means that there's no intimacy, if there's not any nurturing of the love relationship, and then there's no sexual desire, then again, fine. If there's not any drive there, then fine. But what I would say is if you don't do the intimate part, if you don't nurture the intimate relationship
part
because you don't want, you know, some people count the loss of desire or the fact that their sexual relationship is over. They think, well, finally, I'm done with that. I can move on.
Check.
But, you know, again, I think when we do that, we really take something that God gave us as a gift and we really diminish and degrade it to something as if it's only the world's.
Yeah.
And that's just not true.
It's all fueled with the intimacy.
Yep.
And like you said, the intimacy, it needs to be there, whether the sexual part is there in your season or not. Right?
Always fuel the intimate relationship.
Always.
And we'll leave with this, man, whatever season you're in, if you'll fuel your intimate relationship with your spouse, then it'll work into what it's supposed to be. Even if you need to get help or you need, you know, you got issues along the way health-wise.
Yeah.
Or even if you're young and you haven't figured it out.
That's right. Continue to fuel the intimate
relationship and don't
Yeah.
isolate or withdraw.
That's right.
Fuel your intimate relationship and it'll
All right.
become good.
Through every season,
Yep.
right?
Yep,
Hey,
through
your
every
home
season.
matters. We want to see you next time. Hey, share, tell somebody about it. We'll be looking for you next time.
God bless you. Bye-bye.